What's up, y'all? And welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today I am doing a manga review, impressions, whatever, for Oshi No Ko. Now, this series, this series consumed my entire weekend, and yeah, so we're gonna talk about it, but let's take a step back. So, Oshi No Ko, it is a series written by the author Aka Akasaka. It's a tongue twister name, Aka Akasaka, who a lot of y'all may know as also the author of Kaguya-sama Love is War, which is pretty wild that this person has another well-known series under their belt. Just put a little image on the screen just really quick, just in case you feel like, oh, what is Kaguya-sama Love is War? That one. Very popular show, manga, etc., etc. And so it's wild that he started writing Oshi No Ko 2 years ago while Kaguya-sama is still going on. Now, Kaguya-sama, I think, is about to end soon, but still. And this is a very different vibe from that. I would say Oshi No Ko fits more into, I guess, more into like the thriller type of genre. Yeah, drama, mystery, psychological thriller. Yeah. Um, but yeah. So that is the author of it. It is currently at 72 chapters as of right now. 72 chapters out now. And I read them all on Manga Plus, on the Manga Plus app for free. Now, the physical volumes will be coming out in English in January of next year by Yen Press, and there's also an anime announced. Now, Oshi No Ko, it is a series, like I said, that I've heard about for a while. And I've always seen, those of y'all watching the video version, I've always seen this one image of like a pop idol looking girl, throwing peace signs or whatever, but I never paid too much attention. But for some reason, I kept on hearing good things about it, and I was like, and I read a little bit of the synopsis, I was like, all right, I need to see what this is. So the way this video or this review discussion is going to go is I'm going to give a brief, spoiler-free synopsis of what's going on, but then there will reach a point where I will say spoilers. Well, then because there's some stuff I need to talk about. But in a general, vague nutshell, because this series is definitely one that I highly recommend going in as blind as possible. But what I will say is that the series basically starts off surrounding a pop idol named I, and one of the most popular pop idols in a group, whatever. Well, this idol, she ends up having to take a hiatus for, on the public side, unknown reasons, but kind of find out, she ends up getting pregnant with twins. Now, the real kicker is that the twins, when they are born, they are the reincarnation of two big fans of hers who had died and were reincarnated as her children. So two separate fans who died from two separate situations, two different people who were big fans of hers, died and were reborn as her children, named Aqua and Ruby. So, son and daughter, twins, and basically the story basically just follows this family, these kids getting to grow up as the child or as the children of this big pop idol. And what I love about this series, that I can say that's spoiler free, is that it does a really awesome job of diving into the world of celebrities, the world of stardom, because along the way you meet other characters and people who are involved in, being pop idols, singers, actors, models, YouTube stars, TikTokers. All that stuff kind of comes up in this, and you kind of get to see both the highlights, but you also get to see like some of like the lows and the dark side that comes along with being in this type of industry. And that is, I think, what makes this series truly shine and make it like so freaking good, is because of it, um, being able to dive deep into those aspects of things, and kind of you getting to us, we are getting to see the inside, the mindset, the thought process that these characters are going through, um, dealing with these different situations, whether it's characters who were, child celebrities that are now a little bit older and having to deal with, the expectations of things of that nature. People who, maybe they were, they're primarily a model, but they got a gig to do a movie just because of, how good they looked. And they're kind of struggling in that aspect. Or, you growing up being the child of a celebrity and certain expectations and things like that or whatever. So, but yeah, Oshi No Ko, I'm glad that I gave it a shot and I read it, because like I said, it hooked me, and I read all 72 chapters this weekend. I just finished the last handful of chapters a while ago, because I was like, if possible, I want to record this before, or I wanted to record this after catching up, which I'm glad I did, because something very big happens at the in chapter 72, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, Oshi No Ko is definitely something I immediately, if you like thrillers, mystery stuff like that, move this up top of your list. Like I said, hey, the Manga Plus app, it is free to download. Basically, for those who do not know, maybe forgot, the Manga Plus app is kind of like a international companion to the Shonen Jump app. So, you'll see a lot of like the usual series, like your One Piece, My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, etc., etc. But this app is where a lot of other series, some of which are a little bit darker, or more mature themed or whatever, are on this app compared to the regular Jump app. Stuff like Dan to Dan, this one Oshi No Ko, and several other series that are in, I think, like Jump Plus and some other magazines over there. Um, so like I said, it is free to download, phone, tablet, whatever, and all the chapters are there. But this is also one that I am super excited to see the anime for this, because not only does this series grab you immediately, at least for me, it grabbed me immediately with chapter one, with what happened in chapter one, this the initial setup, and then there is like a nice little, like, I'll say, and this still spoiler free part, there's a nice still little introductory arc, and then where things go from there. So that was kind of like a nice like little like 1-2 punch of like, okay, hey, all right, the first chapter you pull me in, and then all right, when that first little arc ended or whatever, it was like, hey, we're taking you for a journey, and then I was like, I'm all in. So, but yeah, Oshi No Ko, highly recommended. Like I said, if you haven't already, go read it, go check it out. Or like I said, if you are somebody who prefers the physical volumes, Volume 1 will be coming out in January of 2023, so about 5-6 months from now. Pick it up then. Like I said, be coming out from Yen Press. Um, and yeah, so go check it out, because now we're about to transition to some spoilers. So once again, hey, like the video, all that fun stuff, share your thoughts, yada, yada, yada. Spoilers. So, the whole thing, the whole setup with this series of which some of this I lightly read in like a synopsis that I read somewhere, whatever, but it didn't all fully click until I saw it happen. So the fact that the doctor that kind of was like, so the doctor who was like a big fan of hers and ended up getting a chance to help her out leading up to her pregnancy, uh, was pretty interesting. Him as well as the young girl as well, who was also in the hospital for medical reasons and stuff. Um, it was interesting, just the fact of like, cause I think because I knew that he was supposed to die, but I also like, oh hey, she's checking in because she's about to go into labor. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to die or whatever. I thought it might be a case where like, the babies would be born and then he would die and then the spirit go into the child then, but no. He unfortunately got freaking killed literally like minutes, hours before the babies were born. And so that was just so wild. He was just outside just chilling, smoke break, whatever he was, I can't remember. He was just outside chilling, gathering his thoughts, and then shank, shank, shank. And now you're being reincarnated. So seeing that, and then and then I really like that whole, basically the prologue. Those, it's like the first like 10 chapters. I really like that whole little setup of getting to see both of the kids, um, doing stuff as babies. I loved when they freaking got the manager's girlfriend or whatever she was to him, uh, where they talked to her as babies and just like spooked her like, hey, we're gods here, and if you don't let us do what we want to do, da 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 da. That whole thing was funny. um and I also, it took a while for me to realize what was happening, but I also appreciated how in that prologue part you kind of got like some of the chapters started with like a documentary interview type of thing, which I think that part's gonna play out really well whenever they do the anime. But like this kind of like documentary thing where it's like interviewing other actors or other people or whoever, um, about I and the kids and all this other stuff, whatever. Which now that cause I'm thinking about this as I'm recording this, but it's like now that I've read all or I've caught up to 72, I want to go back and reread those early chapters and really look at those interview section things, whatever. But those are really neat. But then the punch of the end of the prologue of I getting killed by the same person who killed uh, the doctor dude was super unexpected. Now, cause I can't remember if I had saw mentioned that she died. I don't remember. I don't think I saw that in the synopsis or whatever. So her dying when the kids were what, 3, 4 years old, um, was wild, and the fact that Aqua was there when she was dying, and then that the trauma that left on him, through all these years or whatever, um, was crazy. But you know, shout out to like I was a dope character, and I love how she still showed love and care even to her murderer, because the guy was all like, he felt entitled as this big fan. It was like, oh, you forgot about us and da da da. She's like, no, your name is so and so, right? You met me at this thing. You gave me XYZ. I still have the thing you gave me on my table right now. That just made it so much more heartbreaking. In which he ended up you know taking himself out of the picture as well later on. But the fact that when that happened, and then basically Aqua basically just vowed to get revenge, and stuff, and the fact that it was like like prologue, end of prologue. It was like what. And then I like that we got to see, a little bit of the kids here and there, but then it jumps, freaking 10 years later or whatever to them being in high school, and starting their journey there, and just seeing that like Aqua um became an assistant to this director guy because he wanted to try to figure out um who was behind these murders and stuff, and trying to play detective and trying to piece together some of these things. But throughout all of these chapters that I read, um, I've enjoyed all the little arcs um, from the love the love TV show thing that they did, the live action of the one manga, then what else was it? The live action thing. Of course, the play that just ended. That was super dope. Some really cool art in that. And I feel like it was something else along mixed in there as well. But anywho, all of those are some really cool arcs, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the characters that we've gotten introduced to along the way, and I like that. And it makes so much sense, of course, with the theme of the series being about all these actors and celebrities and stuff, whatever, that we will get reoccurring characters, because I'm pretty sure it's like that in real life with you know you work in certain industries or certain fields. Then of course there's gonna be some people that you're gonna see all the time. There's gonna be some that y'all, oh man, I haven't seen you for years, but hey, we finally get a chance to work together again, or different things like that. So that has been really fun. It's like seeing the core cast of characters steadily grow along the way, um, and stuff like that. It is still wild and interesting though that like Aqua and Ruby, haven't, the conversation about like, hey, we both were reincarnated hasn't come up. I wonder when and if that will happen. I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna slip up somehow, some way, and that's gonna happen. Um, but yeah, but all of this has been such a fantastic read. Uh, Now we did kind of get like a little fake out, which I knew was gonna be the case, but like Aqua, like along all these arcs, whatever, he's been trying to get DNA samples from people. Like, okay, is this guy my father or some relative or whatever? As he's trying to piece together different things, and then finding out that that one actor dude um, is his half brother, but then him saying that, well, when he was younger, his mother and father both died in a double suicide situation. So he's like, hey, our father's dead, so your revenge, da da da. And basically, Aqua's kind of like, okay, well, I guess that's that. But um, Akane, I like Akane because of how her mind works. I like the fact that she kind of like was trying to put herself into Ai's shoes during a couple arcs ago, where she tried to piece together of like why she might have did and moved the way she did, and then her saying in front of Aqua about like, oh, I just imagine, if I was I and I had a kid secretly, and that's what led to da 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 da. That was interesting, and then now again when they're going to go on this trip or whatever, and then Aqua kind of told her about like, hey, I've been DNA testing all these people, whatever. I found somebody who is my half brother, but it seems like our father is dead, and da 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 da. And then when she left, and she started piecing things together, I think she kind of pretty much came to the conclusion of like, nah, things ain't as simple as that, because cause more than likely, I don't know if this is what she was thinking, but what I was thinking is that of course probably the mother, either the mother had an affair or was taken advantage of, especially if she was in the industry, and then had the son, which the reason for the double murder suicide thing might have either been might have actually been a setup done by the actual dad, or the husband, was like, hey, I know that you had an affair, or I know that this isn't my kid because I can't have kids. Something like that might have happened that might have led to that situation, but I think that's kind of where she was coming to the conclusion of like, oh, okay, yeah, but the fact that she's like, Aqua seems happy now. He seems like he's starting to get healed and get in a better place. Is it right for her to tell him like, hey, this ain't over, buddy? And then the fact that at the end of chapter 72, where Ruby is visiting her mother's grave and leaving, and then some not shadowy figure, but some figure with a hat on with blonde hair like hers passes by, and then stands in front of Ai's grave and says that Ruby is going to be a beautiful girl, young woman, however he said it or whatever. And then the person says, of course, it makes sense because she is our daughter after all. And so it's like, okay, we finally get to see, um, but yeah, we finally get to see our first little inklings of their father. And I truly feel like some issues about to go down because they're about to go on this like little like rest and relaxation trip. After to celebrate the success of the stage play thing, but also kind of give them a chance to recoup. But speaking of that stage play thing, that was really dope. Now I've never seen like an actual like a real play in person before, but which I would still like to at some point. But also whatever mess this was, this 2.5D play thing, I want to see that because the way they had the screens and all that stuff was super dope. And speaking of that art too, I really enjoyed the kind of like comparisons between like the that earlier arc with the where they did like the was it sweet love, something sweet, um live action show thing, and then in contrast to the the other manga that they adapted into the stage play thing or whatever. I really enjoyed that back and forth between the mangaka and the script writer, and that's just like another example of like, man, this what makes this show so good, is because it kind of gives you all these different perspectives and all these different portions of these situations, because you get to see the perspective of like the actors being like, man, this script, the way this character is written in the script doesn't seem right, especially because they've also been a fan of the manga and have read the series or whatever. It's like, man, this doesn't feel right like the character. And then the compromises and stuff, or the headbutting that might come from what the mangaka wants versus the scriptwriter for the play, because this is a whole different medium than like an anime or live action thing, whatever. And seeing the mangaka for that and the mangaka for the other series, being mentor and mentee, and and then the younger one for the Tokyo Blaze series reaching heights of success that her mentor has never seen at such a young age. I just loved all those different dynamics and stuff, whatever. And I really liked how they finally came to a unified front, thanks to the help of Aqua, because since he got to go see the play in person, get a better understanding of what it was, he sent tickets to the mangaka and had her to come and see one of the plays so she can better understand why they were making the changes that they made. But but anywho, so that last little bit though, is like I was saying, was that this next arc, because yes, they're supposed to go on this like relaxation trip, but with the father kind of coming to the picture now, and the place that they're going to is the hometown of Ruby, or her previous life as a Serena. You know what? It would be wild if they run into somebody from her previous life whether it be like a parent or sibling or something or whatever. I have a feeling she's going to see somebody that she recognizes from her previous life, and that's going to be a triggering thing for her. And that might be the thing that maybe leads to her and Aqua talking more about the reincarnation thing. Maybe, I don't know. Um, but I feel like that has to come up at some point. But yeah, overall, I've talked for a while, but I just had to share my love for this series, and I am definitely going to be keeping up with this now. Um, but yeah, if for some reason you happen to listen to all these spoilers and stuff, and you still haven't read this yourself, please go do it, because there's so many finer details and stuff in there that I kind of glossed over and stuff, whatever. But overall, I will say this has been a fantastic read. This has been a fantastic surprise for me of this year of things that I've read. And I love hearing good things about a series, going into it as blind as possible, and then those expectations being surpassed a million times over. I know I talked about it a little bit before on the podcast episode that's coming out later this week, but the attention and the commitment that the characters have to their arts reminds me so much of Actage, and it just makes me so sad of what happened with Actage, and the reasons why I had to get counseled and stuff. But I could see some of those same aspects that I loved about Actage in this, but taken to a whole nother level, in a whole different new way. Because, like I said, I didn't expect this to be some freaking, when you look at that initial cover art, that one that's gonna be on Volume 1, I wouldn't think initially that it was like, okay, this is gonna be a semi isekai esque reincarnation story that follows the lives of pop idols and celebrities and stuff like that. So, but but yeah, fantastic read. I'm gonna cut this off here because this is going super long, but I had to talk about it. But as always, thank you so much for listening and/or watching. If you're not already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get more reviews, as well as hear the Danny's Talk podcast, where it's all about fatherhood and family, manga, anime, and TV, and games. And with that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Read Oshi No Ko. It's so fucking good. Peace.